Drivers, start your engines!
Tuning up your work week. It's MRN Motorsports Monday, presented by Outback Steakhouse and brought to you by Hercules Tires and Grunt Style Apparel. Now, for the latest NASCAR news and opinions, and even better hair care tips, here's Woody Cain and Joey Meier.
Welcome to MRN Motorsports Monday, presented by Outback Steakhouse. Kevin Harvick does it again. That means it's time for a free Bloomin' Onion today. Bloomin' Monday.
Last week, I didn't get to play with my Joey because I was not here because I was out on a special assignment. But I come back, and what do?
You get to play with your Joey.
Because not only did he win, but it's a top 5, top 10 free Bloomin' Onion. It's pretty awesome.
So head over to Outback Steakhouse, tell them you want the free Bloomin' Onion because Kevin Harvick bumps Kyle Busch out of the way, goes on to get his 6th victory of the season. The big three right back where they've been all season long. Martin Truex Jr. there, you see, comes home with a 4th place run after winning 3 of the last 6 races. And what a race it was at New Hampshire, especially at the end. And we've been saying this a lot lately. This time it's Kevin Harvick laying the bumper to Kyle Busch and gets by and goes on for victory. Kyle Busch afterwards said, hey, that's okay, that's racing.
What else is he going to say?
Yeah.
Because if he realizes that after what he did with Kyle Larson's involvement there a couple of weeks back by pushing him out of the way after Kyle got into him, he realized that eventually the tables were going to be turned. And we talked about the bump and run. We haven't seen it as goodly.
There you go. Goodly. I like that.
We haven't seen it as demonstrated as good as what Kevin Harvick did in a long time, which is really a bump and run and get away and go win the race.
Yeah.
And that's exactly
without turning the other guy backwards or putting him in the fence or whatever.
Right. And it was executed flawlessly by Kevin. 20 races into the season, we have 3 drivers that have won 15 races.
That's strong.
That's an amazing season. And it's there's those and everybody else right now. And we're trying to play catch up over in the 2-car, and Team Penske had a abysmal day, whatever word.
Either one works.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible day. But again, we saw side by side to the start-finish line on Wednesday at Eldora. We saw a Cup champion beating the bumper off of Christopher Bell and couldn't get by on Saturday. And then we see a bump and run with Kevin Harvick and a group of guys that really led a majority of the laps with him and Kyle Busch and the other Busch. And again,
the other Busch.
The other Busch, exactly. So,
I like that.
But the PJ won there at Loudon, did a really good job of holding up most of the weekend. They reapplied it evenly after each event on Friday, Saturday, and then for Sunday's event. We didn't see a big wear-out version of that. And I think they've really hit on something there at Loudon. We see it used at other tracks, and it's not exactly what they need. But with all the modifieds in the Cain and the Xfinity and the Cup, that PJ1 spray, juice, liquid, goop really worked well and provided 2 distinct lanes of racing there at Loudon.
I want to ask you something about that a little bit later on. But first, let's hear from Kevin Harvick after his victory at New Hampshire.
And I knew I needed to take the opportunity as early as I could get it because I knew that he was thinking late, and we needed to do it when he wasn't expecting it, because the more opportunities to get in his wheelhouse, in his thought process, the less chance that you have. He's that good. And if you wait till 2 or 3 to go, the entries are going to get shallower. He's going to start grinding on the brakes a little bit harder. He's going to put himself in a position to not get hit, and he's going to go on defense and start to really get aggressive too. So it's I wanted to do it earlier just to try to catch him off guard. You got to these races are hard to win, and when you're in position, it's one of those things that you have to do what you have to do for your team, and you want to do everything that you can to not spin them out and not wreck them and just make it as clean as possible and try to accomplish the bump and run. And today we're able to accomplish it well and win the race.
Well, Kevin Harvick wins again, his 6th of the year. And Joey, what do you got for the fans playing along at home, because they can get a piece of the action of Kevin Harvick's big victory at New Hampshire?
We talked about it just a second ago. 20 races. We have 3 different winners. You can go to a website. It's called www.planbsales.com, and that race-winning diecast of Kevin Harvick's win at New Hampshire, as well as all race-winning and other diecasts, are available at www.planbsales.com. You can add to your collection of 4 other race cars that Kevin have, And if you did it, you only have 3 drivers. You got Martin Truex, Kyle Busch,
you're getting a lot
and
of
Kevin Harvick. You got a heck of a collection, but it's only 3 drivers.
Yeah.
We're trying to add to our collection. We're trying to give you guys another option. But right now, Plan B Sales is selling a lot. Almost like Outback.
A lot of 14, a lot of 18, and a lot of 78.
4 as well.
4, not 14. Yeah, 14
but
only
almost
has 2.
like Outback, you're getting a lot of Kevin Harvick stuff.
Yeah.
So they're selling a lot of bloomin' onions for free. You don't really sell them for
No,
free.
you give them away. You gotta buy something else.
But it's
check it out.
been an amazing. You talk about dominant, and we haven't seen this kind of domination from 3 different drivers in 25 years.
I was looking at this the other day. It's the early 70s, back in the Petty, Pearson, Yarborough days before, since we've seen something like this with 3 guys being that dominant.
And it's different teams. It's not even from the same team. It's two different manufacturers with Toyota, and Ford with Kevin Harvick. But what you have is you have guys in the garage are really scratching their heads. Now we see the dominance of the teams. We saw Eric Almirola run really, really well. We've seen Clint Boyer with Kevin Harvick run really, really well. We see Kurt Busch, who sat on the pole and led a number of laps. So the teams are still doing well, but we just can't execute the entire race and come out with those victories. Those top 3 guys at the end of the race, I was looking, and they were all running 1, 2, and 3 towards the end of that race.
Yeah, and that's why they've been called the Big 3. 15 out of the 20 races so far, with Pocono up next on the schedule. We've got a big show coming up for you. On Track, Off Track is headed your way. We'll also review the truck race at Eldora as they get set to go to Pocono this week, and talk a little Xfinity racing as well, as Christopher Bell adds another win to his resume. It's all ahead on Motorsports Monday. Stay right there.
I'm not blooming good, I'm blooming great. Put a shrimp on the barbie and sizzle my steak. Woo, I want that onion to bloom and it get in my senses like a sonic boom. No rules, just right. So bold, so nice. And I'm so ready for that Outback steak tonight. Outback Steakhouse, that's what it's all about. Outback Steakhouse. Blooming great!
Chris Crockett here with young members of our Toyota Racing family.
Hi!
I heard you want to be drivers one day.
Yeah!
Want to be as fast as Hamlin?
Just like him!
Matt, what about you?
No thanks, I'm faster.
Faster than Hamlin?
Hamlin, Busch, Suarez, Jones, even Truex Jr. Did I say something funny?
No.
I can take them any day.
Okay.
Anytime.
Got it, kid.
Any track.
Uh-huh.
Any weather.
Oh, boy. NASCAR and Toyota Racing. With a family like this, who knows the places we'll go this season? Learn more at toyotaracing.com. Toyota, let's go places. NASCAR is a registered trademark of the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, Inc.
Are you a serious diecast collector? Do you have a favorite driver? Are you looking for a gift for a race fan? No matter what the question, the answer is always PlanBSales.com. Plan B has all the latest in diecast from Lionel and apparel, artwork, and other items for your favorite driver in NASCAR or other forms of racing. Go to PlanBSales.com, key your driver's name in the handy search window, and look at all the options. Your one stop for diecast and other motorsports collectibles is PlanBSales.com.
I'm Kevin Harvick, and it's another Bloomin' Monday. Ask for your free Bloomin' Onion tonight at Outback Steakhouse. Now it's back to Woody Cain and Joey Meier.
Listen to Kevin. Go get that free Bloomin' Onion at Outback Steakhouse. Another top 5 for him. Not only that, another victory, his 6th of the year. But Joey, beyond that, he's now piled up 32 bonus points, and it's starting to feel a lot like what Martin Truex Jr. did a year ago in terms of having this war chest when you enter the playoffs so you can afford a stumble and still move on.
We said this earlier, and if you listen to a previous podcast of Motorsports Monday presented by Outback Steakhouse, you will see an issue forming with 3 big drivers and only 4 spots moving to Homestead. If you end up getting a round where 2 drivers win that aren't part of the big 3, then it comes down to playoff points. And even though you have 5 wins or 6 wins or 7 wins, whatever the case may be, if you don't have enough points compared to the next guy, you get bumped out, you're going home. And so that's now we've got to a point to where, okay, we've won a ton of races, but now we have to get those bonus points to protect ourselves, to prevent what happens if we go to that second round and we run second, third, or fourth and have a great round, but somebody outside of the big 3 wins. Now you start bumping out the guys that have all those wins, and that's what the intensity is ramping up. So that's why those playoff points are so important.
We mentioned Kevin Harvick has 32, Kyle Busch has 30, Martin Truex Jr. has 26. The next closest, Clint Boyer with 10.
Right, and so what you have is you have 3 big guys that feel very secure in their playoff position, unless you get somebody outside of that to win 2 races in the 3 race rounds. Then it automatically is going to bump one of those guys as we move on to the next round, specifically going into Homestead.
But those bonus points mean they do have a little bit of a cushion and can afford a stumble or somebody else to win, where some of the other guys who have won may not have that cushion. And you look back toward the cut line right now, Alex Bowman in that 16th and final spot, if the playoffs were to start today. Right behind him, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Paul Menard. That group, Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman, Stenhouse, and Menard, are among those who are in the bubble territory and may have some work to do.
This time last year, Martin Truex Jr. had established himself so far ahead with playoff points, he didn't need to win anything in the rounds all the way to Homestead. He virtually guaranteed himself to Homestead.
Yeah.
These 3 drivers have not done that yet, and they have more points than Martin did last year. And that's the dilemma that they're fighting every week, week in, week out. They're not only racing to get to Homestead, but now they're racing each other to have more points so that one driver can get locked into Homestead.
All right, let's talk a little on-track, off-track now, the portion of the show where we talk about some things in the sport that are going well and some things that maybe aren't going quite so well. For you, what's on track from this past week?
You know, Wednesday evening we sat and watched, and I was able to watch it on TV, the Eldora Dirt Derby. It's a fantastic event. We only race dirt 1 time a year in any of the 3 big series. Now, other similar series, NASCAR bought ARCA, they run dirt several times. We don't get a chance to entertain ourselves with that. But what we see is the truck series going to Eldora. They come to the checker with 1 lap to go. Man, there's a bunch of beating and banging. That's fantastic. We saw it again on Sunday, the bump and run. We talk about it. It has its own name. It's like its own little book. It's bump and run, and it was executed flawlessly. And the reason it was flawlessly is A, the second place car caught the first place car. He was able to bump him out of the way without wrecking him.
After nudging him a couple of times before that, yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Still here.
I'm here.
Yeah.
And now I'm coming. Now I'm coming in the door. And he was able to drive away. In the past, when we see a sloppy bump and run, we see a guy that can't get to the bumper, a guy that drives over his head to get to the guy's bumper, and he can't make the corner to begin with, and the guy running gets bumped out, ends up wrecking. Okay, that's a terrible bump and run. But when you see the professionalism and the accuracy of, again, 2 champions racing with Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick, the bump and run was executed flawlessly. He moved him out of the way after knocking on the bumper a couple of times. Kyle Busch was able to continue on and finish second, not ruin his day. And most importantly, Kevin was able to get away from him. And,
where he couldn't have retaliation.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Kyle Busch will get his later.
Yeah.
Right. The tables always get turned.
And that driver's scorebook, he's got a little mark
Yes,
right
absolutely
now.
right. He's down 1.
Yeah.
Okay, he's down 1. But it was executed flawlessly, and when you get to see it, you appreciate it done correctly.
Interesting to hear Kevin Harvick in the clip we had earlier talking about the timing of setting up that move. He didn't want to wait too long to where if something didn't go right or Kyle threw the proper block or whatever you want to call it, he wouldn't have opportunity to try again. So interesting to hear his thought process on the timing of it.
Yeah, well, he made the one comment about Kyle really getting on the brakes harder. So what it meant was Kyle was really going to try to drive in the corner, use the brakes a little bit more. Well, if you do that, and then you do a bump and run, then you run the risk of actually spinning him out because he's
and
actually
getting yourself taken out.
Actually, he's that closer to the edge towards the end of the race, narrowing his entry, really trying to take Kevin's line away because that slows him up. So Kevin took the advantage early, and it's interesting the little cat and mouse mental games that they were playing with each other.
All right, you mentioned it earlier. For me, on track was the Eldora Dirt Derby. That was one of the premier races in the Truck Series, and the whole motorsports world was looking at it on Wednesday night. It was a weeknight, so there was not competition going on from many other sports at that time. B, it's just a throwback to a different era, not just the dirt, but you walk up to the concession stands. I looked at a lot of the social media, took pictures of the menu board at Eldora at the concession stand.
Every year.
You can get a hamburger, a fry, and a large drink for $7 at Eldora. And I wish a lot of other sports in general at their venues would take that into account. Now, granted, at a lot of the NASCAR tracks, all of them in fact, you can bring your own stuff in, so that kind of alleviates the cost if you want to do that. But if you don't want to carry a bunch of stuff, man, prices like that really make it worthwhile. And just the whole atmosphere, the truck teams were pulled up to the back of the hauler with the hood up instead of in a garage stall. It was just a real throwback atmosphere, and it was fun to watch, and we got a great finish out of it as well. I won't say that was the best race we've had at Eldora, but it was certainly one of, if not the best finish we've had.
Yeah, the cautions there at the end really bunched the field up and allowed the guys to be aggressive for a short number of laps, and that allowed the beating and banging. with Chase Briscoe and Grant Enfinger coming side by side, a bumper ahead of the other guy at the start-finish line. One of the closest finishes we've seen at Eldora in the Truck Series in particular ever we've seen. But we saw the likes of Stuart Friesen, who's just, again, knocking on his door
right
looking.
there.
And then the champion of Matt Crafton, who really was nowhere to be found all night long.
He got in a wreck earlier.
Exactly right. Had a chance to even win that race there at the end. And then the confusing night of Johnny Sauter, who, again, just as many racetracks as he races on and many series he races on, late models and such, he simply couldn't grasp. And it gives you an idea how difficult that is to do it well. And we saw guys do it really well, and we saw really experienced guys do it really bad.
But the mark of a champion in a Johnny Sauter, for example, is he turned that into a 16th place finish. He and Noah Gragson, both the top two guys in the series, both, I talked to both of them that evening, and they were both just shaking their heads like, man, we can't get this. We just don't know what we need to do here. We're having trouble figuring this out. Noah Gragson comes home with, what, a 6th place finish, and then Johnny Sauter comes home with a 16th. And that's how you win championships, is making a bad day an acceptable and okay day rather than a disastrous day.
Yeah, because they clearly lead the points with a 32-point lead over Noah Gragson. And so they did. They took a bad day and only finished 16th, so that's not bad.
All right, quickly, let's talk about off-track. What is under your skin this week?
You know, it's unfortunate, and it kind of bothers me as we move forward in the NASCAR series. The series sponsor, Monster, will be gone after 2019. Lowe's Home Improvement made their announcement they're leaving the sport. They're not just going to another driver, which they used to be at Childress years ago, whether you know that or not. They were at Mike Skinner and Robbie Gordon.
However, Chad Knaus just re-signed to match his contract extension through Jimmy Johnson's, I think, 2020.
Yep, so they feel confident that team will stay together. But then we had another 5-hour energy announcement this weekend. They're leaving the sport. Again, not going to another team. They're withdrawing.
At the end of the season,
they're withdrawing from the sport. And those kind of things concern me. I hope NASCAR takes a bigger picture and realizes, we have plenty of decals on the side of our truck with sponsors, but when these big names start walking away from the sport, we have a lot of sponsors available. There are a lot of Fortune 500 companies, probably 500 of them.
Yeah, that's why the name is there, right? Yeah.
So we have plenty of series sponsors that are available or sponsors that are available to get into the sport. I'm hoping they take a good look at this and really have some input on trying to determine why, because this is not good for the sport to have those big names that have been around for a long time with Lowe's and 5-hour Energy leaving the sport. One
of the interesting things as well, quickly before we go to break here, is earlier this year NASCAR said that, when Monster's deal runs out, we may not go back to having one title sponsor for the whole series.
Right.
It may be modeled after what we see in soccer, where there are a number of premier sponsors. If you watch the interviews there or see any of the TV clips, there'll be a panel behind them with all these different sponsors, and they have different levels. Rather than one entitlement sponsor, a group of premier type sponsors, and that may be the model of the future. We've seen it certainly in other sports.
Definitely the big four sports that we always can look at ourselves with: the NFL, Major League Basketball, and baseball. They don't have series sponsors. They have different games, different events, different venues sponsored by products, and I think we're going to go in that direction for sure. So when you look at a race on TV, it's going to be the NASCAR Series, the NASCAR Cup Series. It doesn't need to be presented by or sponsored by a number. That event, that racetrack, those drivers will have enough sponsorship with that. But having two big names is seriously concerning, and I hope NASCAR looks at it.
You mentioned NBA quickly there. It's interesting that they've started to dip their toe in the water and dabble a little bit with logos on their uniforms. So it's not just NASCAR doing that anymore. All right, we've still got a lot to talk about here on Motorsports Monday. Coming up, we'll talk a little truck racing and Xfinity Series racing and get you set for Pocono coming up this weekend.
Grunt style. The American fighting spirit is in everything we make. We are 500 patriots and veterans strong, bringing clothing manufacturing back to the United States of America. Always moving forward, never retreating, never giving up. We are Grunt Style, and this we'll defend. Get yours at gruntstyle.com.
I'm not blooming good, I'm blooming great. Put a shrimp on the barbie and sizzle my steak. Woo, I want that onion to bloom, and it get in my senses like a sonic boom. No rules, just right. So bold, so nice, and I'm so ready for that Outback steak tonight. Outback Steakhouse, that's what it's all about. Outback Steakhouse. Blooming great.
This is Steve Post. Join Aaron Evernham, Ashley Strummy, and I live from the granddaddy of them all, the 58th annual 5-Hour Energy Knoxville Nationals presented by Casey's General Store. Textron Off-Road Wing Nation presented by Sage Fruit will be live August 8th through the 12th, 7 to 8 Eastern Time. Join us live from the Fan Zone at Knoxville Raceway or listen on MRN.com, WingNation.com, and Facebook Live from the Cushion. Textron Off-Road Wing Nation presented by Sage Fruit, live from the 5-Hour Energy Knoxville Nationals.
If this were a book, it'd be called NASCAR with Dummies. And no, turning the brightness up on your screen will not help. Here's more Motorsports Monday with Joey and Woody.
MRN Motorsports Monday back with you after the racing at New Hampshire over the weekend, and Eldora last week, since last we spoke, that was won by Chase Briscoe there in a limited role for him. He's got some Xfinity races coming up, but that was a 5th four-sport truck that he goes to victory lane in. But on the Xfinity side, you mentioned Christopher Bell and being hammered on by Brad Keselowski, a champion on the Cup side. The pole winner of that race had to start in the back for missing the drivers' meeting after Cup practice was extended. But Christopher Bell, another big win for him. He's really coming into his own now. Before he outran Kyle Busch to get a victory. This time he holds off Brad Keselowski to get a victory. This guy is definitely making his case to be among those talked about for a contention for the championship.
You sure you're making up words now too, huh?
Contention.
Yeah,
right,
contention. Yeah. One of 3 drivers that have a big R next to his name. He's Rookie of the Year candidate with Tyler Reddick and Austin Cindric. So Christopher Bell has a couple of wins. Tyler Reddick won Daytona early on, and Austin Cindric rounding out your top 10. What you have is Daniel Hemrick still without a win.
But he leads the point standings.
Leads the point standings without a win. That's so important because that will essentially lock him into the playoffs moving forward because he'll be the top point leader. We saw that a couple times. You can win the non-playoff system of the schedule.
Yeah, because there won't be enough winners to fill all the playoff slots.
But those guys keep knocking on the door. They will get a victory.
They're right there.
I mean, they are right there. RCR Enterprises, Richard Childress Racing is doing a very good job with their Xfinity program and the young drivers. But Christopher Bell did an amazing job. Ryan Preece did an amazing job.
Just continues to impress.
He will be in a full-time car somewhere, somehow, some way. Ryan Preece will be in a car racing, and what a team that would be with Ryan Preece and Christopher Bell. Again, the future of the sport through the Xfinity Series at Joe Gibbs Racing is really fantastic.
Interesting that you saw on the list there, the top 4 guys separated by just 13 points in the Xfinity Series standings right now. The names have flip-flopped a little bit, but those guys are so close, the whole thing can turn upside down with one race.
Yeah, we're going to look at this list, and again, I know Elliott Sadler is the seasoned veteran, but of the top 4 in that list, Daniel Hemrick, Christopher Bell, Cole Custer, we're looking at our future Cup stars. You're going to see a lot of these guys in the next year, possibly as quickly as next year. Some of these guys are going to be in Cup cars.
And you look at the winners down there. Justin Allgaier has a victory. Tyler Reddick a victory. Those guys are all but assured a playoff spot right now as we get closer and closer to that situation coming down the stretch. But let's hear what Christopher Bell had to say after his victory at New Hampshire on Saturday.
I don't know. After yesterday, I knew that our Rheem Camry was really good. The 22 was obviously really good, and we knew that going in. So knew it was going to be hard. And then at the very first stage of the race, I was able to get out there and just kind of roll around there and didn't feel like I was using my stuff up too bad. And at the end of the run, he started calling lap times, and the 22 was quite a bit better than me, and I couldn't really go any harder. So at that point, I knew we were going to have to make big strides. And, luckily Jason was able to put 4 tires on it, and that's why we won the race. Well, I've got the same cars as Kyle Busch, so that's I can't really. I guess Kyle Busch doesn't have Jason, so that's a big advantage for me. But driving for Joe Gibbs Racing, you've got great equipment, and they've won. They've won before me. They're going to win after me, so it's my job to make sure that they win with me. That's the bottom line. I just got great race cars, and thankfully I've been able to capitalize on that the last couple of weeks.
Second straight victory for Christopher Bell. What a bonus it is for him being in such good equipment at Joe Gibbs Racing and having an experienced crew chief like Jason Ratcliffe with a lot of time on the Cup side, a guy who's pretty much seen it and done it all.
You watch where the Cup mentality and the Cup strategies and the Cup abilities from a Jason Ratcliffe comes over to a rookie at Christopher Bell, and it's like they've been together for years, and that experience is very, very important in that series. But basically, they made a decision early to take 4 tires. The 22 was going to try to lead at the time and take advantage of 2 tires, and it was going to be great. We had a monster lead on Christopher Bell. The caution came out and that lead evaporated, and then the 4 tires ended up beating 2 there at the end.
So were you the reason that Brad missed the driver's meeting and had to go to the back? Is there some fault for you in there at any point? I'm pretty sure that it's got to be related to you.
100% my fault.
Somewhere.
Yeah, in reality was the Cup Series practice was extended to the start of the Xfinity drivers meeting, and we chose to drive to the end of the Cup practice. By the time he got out of the car, had a few words with Paul Wolf, and then hustled over to the Xfinity garage. He was about a minute late, and rules are rules, and we started at the rear. Did not really affect us. We were able to get to the front, came in 4th at the end of the first stage, came out 1st at the pit stop, so after that we were game on. But the rest of our evening we led and raced around and finished 2nd. That's the way it goes.
Who's in the 22 coming up this week at Iowa?
Oh, good nose. I believe Austin Cindric will be in the 22 going to Iowa. Yep.
And don't forget now, the Xfinity Series will not be at Pocono. They will head to the Iowa Speedway on Saturday. We'll have the U.S. Cellular 250 for you right here on the Motor Racing Network starting at 5 o'clock Eastern Time Saturday afternoon to make sure you're a big part of that as well. All right, we got to tell you a little bit now about Ridge Wallet, one of our new sponsors on the program. If you have a wallet like mine, the Costanza Exploding version, you should check out the Ridge Wallet because they've got all kinds of stuff to help you avoid the issues that I have. All kinds of different colors, all kinds of different covers on that. Lifetime guaranteed, the last wallet you'll ever need. It comes in titanium, carbon fiber, aluminum, and polycarbonate, over a dozen different styles and colors. And you can get 10% off today with free shipping worldwide by going to ridgewallet.com. That's ridgewallet.com. Use the promo code RACING to find out more. Look at all that money. See, that's what I need mine to be filled up with, is money instead of just papers.
Yeah, well, they're called money clips, not card holders.
Well, the inside part is a card holder.
That's a card holder, but this is a money clip. This is a money clip, and it holds multiple cards.
I notice you've already removed the money from it.
You can hold 20 cards in here. I mean, it's extremely thick, extremely expandable. The money portions of it goes right here.
That's what I need to fill up.
But you keep it in your front pocket. It keeps away from back problems. It's good. I carry one very, very similar to this right here.
Right in your front pocket.
Mine has more money in it.
It does, because you took it out of there and put it in your own pocket.
Well, no, because I'm a big-time radio star.
Oh, that must be what it is. All right, we've got a lot more coming up here on Motorsports Monday. We've still got to tell you a little bit more about Pocono. We'll do that with the guys from JTG Doherty Racing after this.
I'm not blooming good, I'm blooming great. Put a shrimp on the barbie and sizzle my steak. Woo, I want that onion to bloom, and it get in my senses like a sonic boom. No rules, just right. So bold, so nice, and I'm so ready for that Outback steak tonight. Outback Steakhouse, that's what it's all about. Outback Steakhouse. Blooming great.
Chris Crockett here with young members of our Toyota Racing family.
Hi.
I heard you want to be drivers one day.
Yeah.
Want to be as fast as Hamlin?
Just like him.
Matt, what about you?
No thanks. I'm faster.
Faster than Hamlin?
Hamlin, Busch, Suarez, Jones, even Truex Jr. Did I say something funny?
No.
I can take them any day.
Okay.
Anytime.
Got it, kid.
Any track.
Uh-huh.
Any weather.
Oh, boy. NASCAR and Toyota Racing. With a family like this, who knows the places we'll go this season? Learn more at toyotaracing.com. Toyota, let's go places. NASCAR is a registered trademark of the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, Inc.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there. Whether you're running on dirt or running a job, our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, right on our strength. MRN Motorsports Monday, solving all of NASCAR's problems for over 6 years, 1 week at a time. Once again, here's Woody and Joey.
I don't know if we've solved all of NASCAR's problems for the past 6 years, but we have taken a swing at it.
We were trying.
Yeah, we have.
Very big bats.
Pocono coming up, the Tricky Triangle. I don't know if you know that they call it that, but it's because it's a triangular shape. Tell me about the challenges of racing there.
You try to pick a corner that you lose the least amount of time. Okay, and in doing so, you hope that the other 2 corners you're really fast in. You can never get happy at all 3 corners. They're completely different. Trenton Speedway, Indianapolis, and Milwaukee were designed, they took a corner from each track and made this triangle. And there's still some debate on whether there's 3 corners or 6, right?
They say what turn 4.
Exactly. They say what turn 4. But we have 3 different corners. It's the longest straightaway in NASCAR in any series. I can land a plane on the front stretch. In fact,
have you done that?
No, I wish I could. It'd be awesome.
Wouldn't that be cool? That would be a good pre-race stunt.
But I fly out of runways that are shorter than the front stretch. It's that long. A lot of shifting goes on. A lot of mistakes can be made. We saw a big-name driver that retired that's on TV now. I don't want to mention any names, Dale Jr. Miss a shift twice in the same race because it's so technical. And if you
But then he swept there later.
Then he swept, exactly right. So the fact of the matter is, when you have a fast car, I still expect the big 3. But this is an opportunity for these other guys to grab a hold of this racetrack. This will be our 2nd time going in the last 5-6 weeks, I believe. And you're going to see, I believe, a couple of different drivers come to the front at Pocono.
All right, there's a spotter's perspective. For a driver's perspective, we welcome aboard the guys from JTG Doherty Racing, as we do every week, Chris Buescher and A.J. Allmendinger.
Pocono this time around, we'll see. I don't know, man. It's been tough going there, and it's a place that I enjoy. But we go back. The shifting aspect of it is unique. It's a good time. It's just wears you out a little bit more than most, and just a fast racetrack.
Do you have a favorite turn at Pocono?
I like 2, and the problem with that is 2 is probably the hardest place to pass. There's no long straightaway after it.
Pocono is interesting because you never know what type of weather you're going to get there. The first race we had decent conditions, but I've been at that race and it's gotten really hot and really slick. You can go back and it can be really cold. So track conditions can change a lot there. Weather conditions really dictate how the track feels. But I think our first race there, we had a pretty good car, so we can take some notes from there and try to build on that and hopefully be even better.
It sounds tricky.
Oh, it's very tricky. God, you're awesome, Daryl.
See what he did there? Yeah.
Interesting
couple of notes there. Chris Buescher is a former winner at Pocono. He got it in a weather-delayed situation. And then AJ mentioning the weather itself. We've been there before where you guys can't see the full backstretch because of fog from up on top of the roof.
Yeah, from a spotter's point of view, standing on our spotter's stand, looking down into turn 1, it's the furthest away we go. And then we're looking down from the turn 1 to turn 2, the long pond straightaway. It's the furthest that we have to look. And there have been times that we've actually had to cancel practice or delay practice because the fog rolls in and we're on binoculars and all we see is the infield. And that's it.
Yeah.
It's a very unique track. The infield gets slam-packed with people. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's a very good opportunity for Pocono.
A lot of fun to watch, and we'll have it all for you right here on the Motor Racing Network. Starting on Saturday, we'll have the Xfinity, or rather the Camping World Truck Series, the Gander Outdoors 150 from Pocono. That starts at 12:30 Eastern Time on Saturday. Then the Xfinity Series at U.S. Cellular 250 at Iowa Speedway. That comes your way at 5 o'clock Saturday afternoon. And then at Pocono, the Gander Outdoors 400 from Pocono, 1:30 Eastern Time on Sunday afternoon. Don't forget NASCAR Live Tuesday nights at 7 with Mike Bagley. I'm Woody, he's Joey. We'll see you right back here next week.